who teaches advertising at UT Dallas, about how companies have changed their strategies for Super Bowl commercials.
As we look towards Super Bowl Sunday, what are some of the early standouts, do you think, some of the ads that are making the rounds already?
Well, let's see. To begin with, out of about 30 companies that are putting out approximately 50 Super Bowl spots, I believe 18 have already released. In a couple of days, by the time we get to the Super Bowl, we might have 75% of the commercials already online and on YouTube. I'll start with the one that's really breaking all records, Matt, and that's the Budweiser commercial called Puppy Love.
Mm-hmm.
It's grabbing people by the heartstrings and creating lumps in everyone's throats, and especially the women seem to absolutely find it irresistible.
And this has been Budweiser's play for at least the last few years. They started making these sort of real heartfelt ads, which I guess is paying off for them.
It is. Now, having said that, you're right. They are doing that, but they are still continuing with the funny, slapstick, sophomoric humor type of advertising. So it's not that they're not doing that. There are 5 spots this time, and I expect 3 of them to be the humorous and, going for the physical humor. And last few years they've had 1, if not 2, but at least 1 really sentimental, the one that actually tugs at people's heartstrings. Just to give you a little bit of a metric there, it was released on Wednesday, so in 2 days they've already racked up 29 million views and counting. Which is breaking all records, even more than the Volkswagen little Darth Vader kit from a few years ago, which had the record till this time. The others to look for is a Volkswagen one called Wings. It's kind of a takeoff on It's a Wonderful Life, the classic. And the theme there is every time a Volkswagen hits 100,000 miles, a German engineer gets his wings. Dannon's got their Oikos Greek yogurt. They're bringing back John Stamos, and this time he's accompanied by Bob Saget and Dave Coulier, Danny Tanner, Uncle Joey, Uncle Jesse all reunite. And the other one that I can mention is the Dorito spots, our own local Frito-Lay.
So they're doing the community produced spots again.
You got it. Crash the Super Bowl. Crowdsourcing. So that's getting a lot of buzz. And they've got so many celebrities with Scarlett Johansson and, we got Lawrence Fishburne. I mean, it's just packed with, I think at last count, over 30 celebrities that you'll be seeing on Sunday. And probably more to come that that they haven't released yet.
Talking to Abby Biswas, a professor at UT Dallas. Let's start with that Greek yogurt commercial, because I think that brings up advertising that I see directed at either my age group, the 30-somethings, maybe in that range. Is that what we're going to start seeing as people start building off that nostalgia from the early 90s and things, or the 90s programming and things like that? Is that a shift in advertising, perhaps?
Absolutely, no question. In fact, I think the trend started about 2 years ago, but you're right, it's trending upwards now. It's nostalgia marketing. It's one of the popular ploys being used by the Madison Avenue advertising agencies. If you're a child of the 90s, or if you're even let's say a 25-year-old of the 90s, in other words, Generation Y, Generation X, you basically grew up with, Full House, and that gets your attention.
Right.
So, you harken back and you go, it's the good old days syndrome, and there's Uncle Joey, and, it just connects. So, and they keep those characters coming back. I mean, you've got Lawrence Fishburne in his reprisal of The Matrix, Generation X, Generation Y. They are the beer drinkers. They're also the ones with the spending power, so, the auto manufacturers are reaching out to them. And, Matt, the other fascinating thing that's happening nowadays, which I think is worth mentioning, is you're seeing this new trend over the last couple of years, and this makes my head spin, ads for ads. So they will launch teasers a week in advance, advertising what their ad is going to be. You know, it's Inception all over again.
Yeah.
The way I'm thinking, and not just that, it goes one step beyond, because these companies actually buy banner ads or YouTube ads to get people to go to the teasers. So now we're talking about ads for ads for ads. Okay? It is literally enough to make your head spin.
Talking to Abby Biswas from UT Dallas. Used to, I mean, you touched on it there. Used to, the play was you get the ad out on Super Bowl Sunday, and then you have a very long tail of people sharing it and passing it around after that. And now, as we've said, a lot of these are coming out before. Is it as important to spend that $3-4 million on a 30-second ad just to be tied to the Super Bowl, or can companies start to get around that?
In my opinion, they really can't get around that, because it's the carrot and stick. If you don't have the Super Bowl as the showcase and that grand stage where you're going to show off your commercial, you're not going to be able to get consumers to even talk about these teasers, or, you know, all that wouldn't be there if they just released a YouTube commercial, because they've been doing that. They release commercials on YouTube. They're getting much more than the $4 million worth. It's a well-calculated ploy, but without the Super Bowl, it wouldn't happen. It just doesn't have the same buzz, the same virality, the same engagement, shares, and views. Just doesn't happen.
You could just as easily say, hey, every company, release your big ad on July 1st if you want, and it could still be a day, but just the fact that we are expecting this stuff this time of year is what drives it, I suppose.
Absolutely. Well put. That's exactly right. Super Bowl has just become that designated one day of the year where everyone's waiting with bated breath to actually watch the commercials instead of zipping and zapping and skipping them.
Abby Biswas with UT Dallas. I appreciate you spending a few minutes with us today.
You're most welcome. It was a pleasure, Matt, as always.
That's Abby Biswas with you, with KLIF's Matt Stoker. It is 4:24 on KLIF News and Information in the afternoon.